Good afternoon, seafood industry at large. I'm Ben Hale from the Queensland Seafood Marketers Association and the Love Australian Prawns campaign, and welcoming you to this, the sixth of our Sundown sessions brought to you by the QSMA. A little bit of housekeeping as we begin. This webinar, and it's a very exciting one from the Sydney Fish Market, is going to be recorded. However, as attendees, you feel comfortable, you're not going to be recorded, you're not going to be heard. But if you do want to be heard, and especially if you have questions during the session for the Q&A at the end, please type them into the chat window. Look for the little speech bubble button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Patrick Hone, who will introduce you then to our speakers today, Greg Dyer and Lauren Drummond from the Sydney Fish Market, and what I expect to be a very exciting presentation about what the largest fish market in the Southern Hemisphere, I believe, has been handling COVID and what it looks like for the future. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Patrick Hone from the FRDC.
And Ben, here I am sitting in the office, and I thought I'd better put the right picture in the background. So that's the mighty Clarence River, home to the best little schoolie prawns in the world. If anybody's ever had a schoolie prawn on a barbecue, they should have it. And what a fitting reminder as we move into Christmas, we talk to the Sydney Fish Market, because there's no ever conversation in the media about seafood if you're not talking Sydney Fish Market and what happens 36 hours before Christmas, which I'm sure that Greg and Lauren are just absolutely rapt to be talking about in the next session with us. No further ado, I'd like to pass over, and I think we've got Greg starting off, and then Lauren, the support team. So hand over to you guys.
Thanks, Patrick, and good afternoon to everybody online. What a great opportunity for us to present to you today. As Patrick said, we're in the busy run-up to Christmas and all of that. So, but Lauren's going to tell you more about what we're experiencing at the moment around Christmas. It's been an interesting year. So, without further ado, let's get into the presentation that we've got planned for you today. So we're going to give people a quick overview of the Sydney Fish Market and where we are. Obviously, the core of this afternoon is to talk about what happened in 2020 and how we've responded to it. And then a little bit about the Christmas trade that we have. And I want to talk to you about the future of Sydney Fish Market, where we're headed, both physically but also online as well. So here's a bit of a background for those that aren't aware. We've been here at Blackwell Bay since 1966, in fact, and the entity was privatised in '94. Is owned 50-50 between the Catchers Trust, 700 fishers up and down the coastline of New South Wales, and our tenants and merchants here on the site. Obviously, we work on a day-to-day basis with the Dutch auction, which is a unique experience. It's an amazing thing to watch. Thousands of transactions literally every hour. So it's a very efficient method of marketing. In addition, we're a major tourism destination. Obviously, 2020 saw that tourism decimated as international tourism reduced. But then there's been quite a substantial local visitation, which has really upticked throughout the course of this year. We run a really important Sydney seafood school here in Pyrmont, which teaches people how to deal with seafood, reducing some of those barriers to entry, if you like. We have about 10,000 people per year normally, in a normal year, come through the Sydney Seafood School, and it has a regular hosting by some very significant named Australian chefs. So we're an iconic brand. The brand is a really important thing to us. We need to obviously maintain it very strongly. We trade on the trust, tradition, the heritage of the market here, and we're predominantly associated, of course, with freshest, the highest quality, and the best Australian local seafood available in the market. As I say, we're a strong destination for Australian and New Zealand quality product. We sell over 13,000 tonnes of fresh seafood per annum, and we're up around about the $150 million mark in terms of turnover across the site. We have over 800 active suppliers to us, and our registered buyer base is around about 300. We provide direct sale facilities for buyers, and we have very high quality assurance and food safety standards, obviously, which ensures the integrity of what we do. We've had responsible sourcing principles in place here at Sydney Fish Market long before responsible sourcing was a thing. But we've done some refinement and review of the way in which we talk about those responsible sourcing principles recently. And here's a summary of what we do. Obviously, we only supply product which is lawful. We have a significant concentration on the fact that our products need to be traceable, and we're doing lots of work in terms of the innovation which is currently being developed around the traceability, blockchain technology for documentation and the like. So quite a lot of work is going in to support all of that. We're obviously lobbying strongly around continuous improvement in fisheries and aquaculture, and we partner with organisations who are working in environmental stewardship and habitat restoration and the like. We like to advocate for Australian product as best we can, but most importantly, we want to make sure that labelling is accurate, precise, and follows the appropriate naming protocols. It's certainly been a year like no other, although I guess I need to admit that I've only been here at Sydney Fish Market for 1 year, but I am reliably assured by those who've been here substantially longer that 2020 is in fact a year like no other which has been experienced by SFM. We were trucking along quite nicely in the first half of the year, the financial year that is 1920, and then COVID hit us in March. We immediately provided a COVID task force, and they met weekly. Our board was meeting on a weekly basis, in fact, to review our plans and response. We developed a very strong site management plan, and we used that as the basis for managing the operational floor. We split our workforce in two to make sure that if somebody was affected, if we had a positive test, that we'd be able to continue in operation. And we've managed through, I guess, a series of what I'd regard as being best management, but also, let's face it, good luck. We had no positive tests here on the site, either from staff, our retail environment, nor from visitation on site. So we've been fortunate in that respect, but we've certainly spent a lot of time, effort, and frankly, money in managing the site around the requirements of COVID. And I think through that, we've proven that the industry has responded incredibly well. It's been a resilient industry response to the COVID pandemic. We've provided a continuity of services to the New South Wales industry and beyond. As the result, whilst we saw some hesitation very early on in the process, we've been able to effectively have our volumes pretty much steady as she goes and consistent with the previous financial period, which I think is fairly remarkable in many respects. So whilst the food service industry, those that service the pubs and the clubs and the restaurants and the like, almost disappeared overnight in response to their requirement to close down. All of that volume found other sources to market, other channels to market, and I guess in terms of the continuity that we were able to provide to the industry, volumes, as I say, have remained remarkably steady, and we've been able to achieve a fantastic outcome, I think, throughout the COVID hiccup, if you like, through 2020. We remained open for business, and Easter was quite an interesting period for us. So we had over 50,000 people on site through Easter, and if I could take your mind back, that was literally weeks into the COVID pandemic, and so it was the world of the great unknown at that point. And we went ahead, we closed our car park, we provided people with an individual car park spot, in fact, to queue through and come on into the retail environments and through to the arcade and so forth. We were obviously in very close consultation with New South Wales Police and with the Health Department, and frankly all the way up to Premier and Cabinet Department, who were interested to see how we were responding, to say the very least. And so we managed to get through Easter, and I think Easter was a real pivot point for SFM and for the industry. It proved that you could market, you could stay open, you could sell safely, and give people the confidence that they could come on site and access their seafood safely with social distancing. We did temperature testing. We did all of the things, all the protocols that were necessary in order to give people the confidence that they needed in order to come here on site to the Sydney Fish Market. And I think the hesitation that we'd seen in the week or so, the 10 days leading up to Easter, was reversed following Easter. We got a lot of media interest throughout the course of the Easter period. And as I say, people saw that we were open for business and trading as normal. We got a lot of very, very positive media, which contrasted heavily with the Bondi Beach media, where people were not so responsibly behaving, if you like. So we did a good job. I guess I've got to pat my team and myself on the back for the job that we did over the Easter weekend. And it really turned things around in a very significant way and convinced people that this beautiful Australian fresh seafood, which was on offer, was something that they could come to. The mums and dads cooking at home had confidence to come both on site here to Sydney Fish Market, but also into their local fishmonger and access the product, take it home and cook it up. So the volumes, as I say, have been remarkably consistent from year to year, notwithstanding the very different channels to market which were experienced through the course of it. All right, thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Greg. And I myself have only been here for part of the year like no other also, but it's been fantastic to see the response and to be able to drive forward from a marketing perspective as well based on those things. So one of those fantastic pivots from this year was from our team at the Sydney Seafood School. So obviously had the need to suspend their face-to-face classes and needed an alternative to keep their staff employed, support suppliers and engage with their customers. So SSS at Home was born out of that. Now SSS at Home, a bit of a tongue twister, is a weekly virtual cooking class, and it comprises a video, detailed printed recipe from our amazing team, and all the ingredients you need to create a special meal for two. And it's been such a fantastic product for the school to put out into the world. It's a natural extension of their mission to inspire everyone to eat well together. So it used to happen here on site, and now it happens at home, and it's been really well received by customers. Excitingly, this COVID pivot is here to stay. There's actually a fantastic grab wax for Christmas if anyone is interested in ordering. It went on sale today, and delivery extends throughout much of New South Wales. So really fantastic to see some of our regional centres being able to access our fresh Aussie seafood throughout that delivery network. So our SSS team have put together this fantastic video which really showcases the SSS at home experience.
SSS at Home is a fun cooking class in the comfort of your own kitchen by Australia's leading cooking school and Sydney Fish Market.
Hi, I'm Roberta and I'm so proud of what the Seafood School team has put together during this challenging time, and I love hearing the ways that our virtual guests use SSS at home, whether it's for an at-home date night, to get the whole family cooking together, or for easy entertaining because we've done the shopping for you. It's a great gift too.
Hi, I'm Jen and I love guiding you through our recipes on our weekly videos. I add as many tips and tricks as I can to help you get great results every time.
Hi, I'm Shauna and I'm only a phone call or email away. If you need to change delivery or collection details, or if you have any questions at all about your SSS at home kit.
My name's Amelia and I love my job sourcing the best ingredients I can for you. Every week there's something new and exciting from fabulous producers.
Hi, I'm Farah. SSS at home is great because you get to try so many new recipes and ingredients.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I love how carefully we pack everything to get it to you in great condition, and that we're constantly looking for more environmentally friendly packaging.
I'm Fiona. I love SS at home in that it keeps our team together. It keeps you all cooking, and that's what we love doing, introducing you to new ingredients, new recipes, lots of techniques, so keep cooking.
Hey, I'm Vinny. I think it's great that we're coming to you in your kitchen. You get to cook in your comfortable space, you get to have a glass of wine, and you get to take your shoes off. What else could you ask for?
Just $52.50 for a step-by-step video and all the quality ingredients needed to make a generous meal for two. Order now.
So I think that's a fantastic showcase of the full experience, and you see the passion and dedication from our team as well, which is fantastic. Many of our retailers also quickly pivoted to online selling in the height of lockdown. So obviously some shops had to close their doors, but many businesses were still able to bring fresh Aussie seafood direct to customers by implementing online ordering. So we had obviously here on site some existing delivery services such as Get Fish, and that obviously boomed with the demand for convenience and that safety aspect as well. But also we had some retailers who had never considered offering home delivery and were able to quickly innovate, which is fantastic. And again, a pivot point that's here to stay. So now we move on to our 36-hour seafood marathon. So obviously on everyone's minds in the lead up to Christmas, and it's been fantastic to be involved in it from a marketing perspective and such a showcase event for the calendar. So obviously the most popular event on our calendar, and we usually welcome around an average of around 100,000 visitors across the 36-hour period, everyone looking for the perfect catch for their festive feasts, and an average of around 370 tonnes of seafood is traded on the site over the 36 hours, so fairly large scale when we think about it. So, you know, the last couple of years we have had New South Wales Police involved pre-COVID, but obviously their involvement this year is more vital than ever to direct traffic and keep things running smoothly. And the media attention is massive. Around 1,200 pieces of coverage were generated last year. So how does that look in our current COVID landscape? So of course things are going to look a little bit different this year. This 25-year tradition really has taught us many things about running events, but our first priority is safety for our staff and for our customers as well. So we do expect that visitation will be slightly lower this year, but we've again been consulting with New South Wales Health and New South Wales Police as per Easter, as Greg mentioned, to implement an extensive COVID-safe event management plan. So that will allow us to welcome those 100,000 visitors with many measures in place, but the key here is safety, and that's what we've considered as paramount in all of our planning, which has taken many months. So the main changes this year will be similarly to Easter. The main car park here at the fish market will be closed to the general public, and that again will be used for that social distancing. We do have alternative car parking in the area, so for any locals that are coming down, it's not too far away at the Sydney Secondary College and Fig and Wattle Council site. The main COVID measures in place in terms of COVID safe is that there'll be a single point of entry to the site, and that allows us to manage registration, so via a QR code as you would when you're out and about in many food and beverage venues these days. And we will also be temperature testing as well. And we will be asking all of our visitors to socially distance at all times while they're on the site. So each visitor or group must remain that 1.5 metres apart. As I mentioned, the New South Wales Police will have a big involvement in this event, as well as our staff, to make sure that we're moving road and foot traffic through really smoothly. And we're really confident that that visitors will be able to move through really quickly and grab their seafood and get on with their Christmas preparations. So as mentioned, the media interest has been massive this year, and we're sort of at around double the coverage that we normally would be based on year. So that's fantastic and great for us to be able to get the message out there. And obviously with other stories happening in the current landscape with things like relaxed exports to China, there's even more of a story this year. So I think that's really generated the media attention as well. I guess what's important for us from a marketing perspective is that we're controlling the narrative with the media. And what is most important in all of that is that we're promoting Aussie seafood. So as long as our customers can get their fresh seafood safely, we've done our job. And that's the main focus of all of our messaging across the marathon period. So I will now hand back to Greg to have a chat about the future of SFM past 2020.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. So I did want to talk about a couple of really important things that are happening on the future of Sydney Fish Market. And they relate both to a new digital trading platform that we have in development and planning, and then also, of course, you will all be aware of the fact that we're headed towards new digs, a brand new building, which we can show you some further detail of this afternoon. But our new digital trading platform will, I think, change the way in which the industry buys and sells seafood. So as a market maker, a true independent operating between buyer and seller, we think that we're well placed to extend what we currently do through Piermont here via the day-to-day auction with an online market. We want to provide all industry stakeholders, fishers, co-ops, wholesalers and retailers with an online experience, best in class, and an efficient, open, transparent and best in class online trading system. So we're working very hard around all of that. We want to make sure we get it right. We've been out to talk to around about 1,000 stakeholders around their expectations and what they'd like to see, and we hope to build that and have it working through the course of next year. With some board approvals to get through in terms of technology solutions and the like, but we're hopeful that we'll get through all of that and have something in the marketplace through the first half of 2021. The government is strongly supporting and has provided us with some assistance in funding to help build it. It'll be an open data with simple payment mechanisms, and we're hoping to link into New South Wales DPI reporting systems and beyond. It will take us, we think, to a national footprint. So rather than being predominantly New South Wales wild catch, we hope to develop our supply base across a much broader footprint and to have buyers online no longer shackled to Pyrmont, if you like, but able to be openly trading seafood through our online platform on a much broader footprint. So that's the digital transformation that we're going through. Physically, notwithstanding that 2020 has been a difficult year for the conduct of face-to-face meetings, we've been very much working hard with Infrastructure New South Wales on the planning required to produce our physical transformation. So there's some beautiful pictures up on the screen now of what this building will look like. I don't think it's pure rhetoric to say that this is the most important public building which will have been delivered on Sydney Harbour since the Sydney Opera House. And I'm sure you'll agree it's a stunning architectural building. We're really looking forward to seeing it literally come out of the water at the the southern end of Blackwattle Bay, facing to the north on Blackwattle Bay. As you are no doubt aware, we currently are on the east facing west, so I can look out of my window right now and see the site, which is currently in demolition. So it's exciting finally to see some progress on the site. The old concrete works have well and truly gone now, and Hans and Youngkin are working away towards the full demolition of the site. Multiplex have been awarded the main works contract, and they'll take possession of the site, we think as early as March or April in 2021. And then we're very hopeful that it'll be a 3-year program from there. Lauren, have we got some more pictures? There we go.
Sydney Fish Market is the lifeblood for fishing and aquaculture operators from more than 300 communities across Australia.
Sydney Fish Market is everything to the fishing industry.
The new Sydney Fish Market will be a world-class showcase for the Australian seafood industry, especially New South Wales, which supplies over half of all product traded through the auction.
It's a big part of our business. Like, without the market, you can't just go and say, oh, well, I'll go and sell 10 boxes to that person, because what are you going to do with the other 100? So the market is like 95% of your business.
The new Sydney Fish Market builds on the market's traditional role as an important commercial and social centre. Brand new, streamlined facilities will benefit wholesale and retail sales, restaurants and food stalls, and enhance Australia's reputation for producing some of the world's best seafood.
With a strong fish market, we have a strong seafood industry to move us forward into the future.
Sydney Fish Market's dual role as the hub of the New South Wales seafood industry and as a major tourist attraction contributes $41 million in value added and supports hundreds of jobs in regional New South Wales fishing and tourism supply chains. The redevelopment will have numerous benefits for local and regional communities.
Well, it'll make a massive difference both to a community and to the fishermen, and not only the community, probably to the country Australia-wide.
With over 3 million visits a year, the Sydney Fish Market attracts more visitors than the Great Barrier Reef.
The Sydney Fish Market and that new building is just going to be, it's going to be something that to an extent rivals the Opera House for a position on Sydney Harbour as far as its attraction.
There's a real opportunity for regional New South Wales with the amount of international tourists that visit Sydney Fish Market to see seafood firsthand and to get an insight of the fishing industry in Australia. Some of them international tourists, it's the first place they go when they hop off the plane. So when that filters through back into regional New South Wales, we've got the opportunity to take some of those international tourists into places like Yamba and the Northern Rivers and all the other east coast of New South Wales.
The new market will honour the industry by showcasing its history in an informative and entertaining way, designed to increase public understanding.
I think that industry needs some more recognition by the public, and the greater public is in Sydney. That's the greater population area. And the new Sydney fish market for industry should help to give us a higher profile, get it out there more. It'll be an icon of Sydney. It's already a sort of a tourist destination now, so it's going to make it even more so that there is an industry in New South Wales that supplies product into Sydney. And so the better recognition that we can get from that, from the population, then we should have more support and have a longer future in this industry. The Sydney fish market should help to give us recognition that we actually are there contributing to the economy and to the benefit of other people.
Without Sydney Fish Market, we wouldn't have been able to build what we have here today. And with their support, we'll move forward to growing even further.
Without fish and chips on a Sunday, where would people be?
So as I say, there's an early works contract which is underway. In fact, it began in September and is well and truly in progress, which is really exciting to look out the window and view. Multiplex, the main contractor. Here's some images of the way in which the auction process will actually be viewable from the retail environment, which I think is a really significant enhancement to the current layout of our tired old building here at Pyrmont. So it's going to be an amazing, exciting future for us, both physically, but also, as I've mentioned, digitally as well. We've got so much good stuff that's coming along. Construction begins early next year, and again, I then get to talk about finishing within a 3-year kind of time frame. We're hopeful that by early to mid 24, so Christmas 2023 will be our last in the old building here at Pyrmont. So it really presents an exciting future. I think in summary, I guess what we'd say is that we're a benchmark in terms of the Australian seafood marketing. We're an important pillar of the industry. What I'd also say is the industry as a whole has proven to be incredibly resilient across the course of the year, and I think we've played an important part of it. Back to the building, I think you've got one or two more slides, Lauren. No? The building, the new building has the same level of parking that we have currently on site. It has the auction hall, of course, the wharves for our vessels here in Sydney. The market hall will consist of a broader array of restaurants, food retailers, and some new retailers as well. And excitingly, up on the mezzanine, a really important view down the bay for our seafood school dining room, which will be quite an experience. So we're looking to enhance the seafood school quite significantly. Patrick, I think that was all of the material that we had to go through officially. I think we're doing okay for time, but Lauren and I are more than happy to take some questions from those online or elsewhere.
Yeah, I'll start off. And you know, at the beginning of the pandemic and the year that you and Lauren have gone through at Sydney Fish Market, I think the most interesting thing was the National Cabinet was formed. And one of the first decisions they did was actually made our industry an essential service, which allowed us to continue to operate. Just some insight, Greg, into those decisions early on with the National Cabinet, allowing, you know, food companies like Sydney Fish Market to continue to operate. Easter was a classic experience, but your views on how important that was to Sydney Fish Market. But do you think there's going to be any legacy about this? For example, now that, you know, urban Sydney people actually actually understood that food came from fishes as opposed to that just came from supermarkets. Do you think there's going to be a legacy that us being now seen as an essential service, we might actually build a better rapport? And obviously the whole Sydney fish market, the no building, is about, connecting the ocean with the community. So just your thoughts on that whole National Cabinet essential services view.
Yeah, well, it was a statement of the obvious to me, but they made it, which is obviously great. We are, of course, an essential service, an important source of protein. I think we can gain a greater market share, in fact, of the protein market than we currently do. I think the whole of Sydney has had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Sydney Fish Market, I guess it's true to say. People love it, but to some extent, we're in a tired old place, and she doesn't smell like she used to, perhaps sometimes. But I think the love relationship has returned, and we've seen a lot of local people return to the Sydney Fish Market, and our acceptance among locals has really grown. So it's I guess we've pivoted quite quickly to take on a much greater local audience, and we're seeing good, strong numbers across the site on a regular basis now, which is good. In terms of the longer term, as I say, I think people have come to seafood in a way which is really encouraging for the future of the industry.
And Lauren, it must be a pleasure to come to a place that has such great numbers. I mean, how often do you see those sorts of numbers around Easter? It's almost like a marketing dream. But your view on, you made that comment, and I think you made about how locals have rediscovered the tourism angle about Sydney Fish Market. It's just a great place to go down and have a feed or see fish or things. Your view on how long is that legacy going to continue? What can we do? And how can we keep them all the way to 24?
Look, that's an important point that you've made, and I guess a challenge for me to ensure that balance between local visitation and then tourism visitation is kind of maintained into the future. So no, it's been fantastic to kind of experience that and really to try and hone the things and remind, I guess, our local visitors of why it is such a great destination. I think for a long time there's been that kind of perception of the tourism angle, but we've really been focusing in on our social content, particularly to remind people that it's a great place to come for lunch, not just for seafood. We've got some other really fantastic retailers on site as well, and really kind of talking about how to explore the area as well, because there's some fantastic, the walk around the Glebe foreshore and things like that. So I think for us it's really to remind those coming from particularly interstate that this is a place that is fantastic to visit, and yeah, we're really driving our content in regards to that.
Now, another really easy question for you and Greg is, it's really exciting to hear that the Sydney Seafood Show School will continue it's online. Now, I live in Canberra, but we're excluded at the moment. So I suppose for those people around Australia who might also would like to persist.
I think you actually are included in the delivery zone. So that was a recent change. All the details are on the website. But yeah, there's places like Canberra, Newcastle, Orange, and all the way down to Albury-Wodonga, which is where I'm from originally. And we don't see many or much fresh seafood down there. So that's really exciting.
But are you thinking going national?
We can get it to you in Canberra.
National would be a fantastic challenge, I think.
Because I have to say, I've been sharing the little newsletters you get, and with the great recipes, and I've got children all around the country, and I'm sure everyone does, and they will come back to me and they go, well, Dad, that's great. How do I get involved? So I think I've got a daughter, particularly in Newcastle, who's absolutely wrapped with the school. She loves it.
Oh, excellent.
And she's got a partner, and for her, just cooking for two has just been fantastic. So
yeah, it's such a fantastic solution and a really great price point as well, I think, for the market.
Which is the next evolution, Greg. You know, obviously one of the things that Sydney Sydney fish market's been all about in the past has always been about, it's business to business, but more and more you're more than just a B2B. You're B2C, you B to the community, you B to, you have so much parts of your business. How do you see this evolving? Because obviously the new platform, you're going to have this amazing new building. The sky's the limit.
But to be clear, it's going to be a B2B platform, right? So we're maintaining that focus quite clearly. Our retailers on site, as Lauren mentioned, have pivoted quite quickly to either click and collect or click and delivery type mechanism. So our retailers on site, I guess it's a complementary, clearly very complementary with what we do. And they've managed to revert really quickly. We had, one thing we haven't mentioned in the presentation, we had limitations on the number of buyers that we could accommodate on the stand here at the market. We went from around about 150 as a maximum number of buyers in the stand to around about 50 or 60 buyers in the stand. And we pivoted very quickly and gave them online bidding access. And so we had a number of the buyers either in separate rooms and locations around the market here at Pyrmont, or indeed many of our buyers have learned to bid at the auction from their kitchen at home. So without the need to get up and come to the market so early in the morning, they've been bidding from home. So I think the industry has proven, and our pivot very quickly to give them access remotely to the daily auction has proven that people are, within the industry, are very happy to deal with an online environment. And so we're very keen to get to that on a more substantial basis as soon as we can.
I think there isn't someone who hasn't been touched by Zoom or something this year around the country. It has changed that whole digital landscape. Ben, if you've got any questions, but I got one. I sort of gave you a heads up about this, but what are the 3 good reasons why we should eat seafood for Christmas? I mean, you must love seafood yourself. So Lauren, Greg, you got any response?
Well, it's been a year to forget. So I think everybody needs to make it a Christmas to remember by enjoying some beautiful Australian seafood. So that's my primary reason. Secondly, we know that there are suppliers around our coastline that are doing it tough and have lost some markets that they previously enjoyed. So we need to encourage everybody to eat Australian seafood in order to support those suppliers. And I guess my third good reason is it's the best seafood in the world. So why wouldn't you want to enjoy it at Christmas time, right?
Oh, gee, Lauren, try and beat those 3.
Yeah, I think I'll leave it with Greg on that one, but certainly echo his sentiments. And being new to the fish market environment, I'm just constantly amazed at the quality and variety of seafood that we have on offer. So I think it's a no-brainer.
And I often bring up that variety. I think the beef industry would love to have our variety, some 800 plus species, and we're not even talking about the different bits, the caviar, you're talking about all the different components that we can offer over Christmas to have an amazing celebration. But yeah, I'm so with you, Greg. I think it's a year to forget, but what a way to celebrate with great seafood over Christmas. But not just Christmas Day. I think we've got a whole Christmas break. There's many, many occasions we can eat seafood. And Ben, the great prawn man, will be telling us all about why we should have a prawn on a barbie for Christmas. Right, Ben? I'm going to hand it back to you, mate.
And look, yeah, another question that's come through, that with those, the sudden halt in food service happening with COVID, that it was really positive to see that volumes were still up, which points to the consumers taking up the mantle and possibly more in-home entertaining. And we also saw a consumer shift to looking for local and looking for Australian. What do you think that's going to do to seafood demand now as food service starts to reopen again?
Well, you'd like to think that there would be increased demand in total. So we're already seeing with the loosening of restrictions on restaurants and clubs and pubs and so forth that those food service channels are returning. And at the moment, frankly, with an East Coast low happening right now, our issue is supply. If we had more seafood, we would be able to sell more seafood. So, but I think the point to make is that there have been some barriers to the use of seafood which have been removed through the course of this COVID period, where people have had a little more time to access some really lovely recipes and so forth, and actually get over themselves and get on with cooking some beautiful seafood. And so hopefully there's a longer term benefit which can flow to the industry from that increased awareness, increased or less aversion to the use of seafood in the home environment. And rather than cooking seafood maybe once a week, they might think to use it 2 or 3 times a week. So that's our hope and desire, obviously.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it? That that increased demand, and now hopefully that flows through then to better prices and our producers being able to sleep more easily at night, knowing that there's a strong local market, for what they work so hard to produce.
I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it is the most responsible form of protein. It's incredibly healthy, and as I've been saying over and over, we have the best quality seafood, or as good as anywhere in the world, frankly. So we're very well placed. It's got a very low footprint to it, and I think the Australian consumer is gradually getting those sorts of messages, and hopefully there's a really bright future for seafood going forward. We want to be an important part of that bright future, obviously.
So Ben, any more questions?
I think we've got a comment from Marshall Betzel. Thank you, Greg and Lauren, for a most informative presentation. And yeah, thanks for sharing us and giving us a little peek under the hood about the plans and the marketing and the work that's involved in bringing what is going to be a fantastic destination alive, and what is very much a central hub, of the buying and selling of seafood in Australia. So,
Marshall.
Yeah, so thank you very much, and stay tuned. We will be sending out more information for more sessions for the Sundown sessions. Keep an eye on your socials. Thank you very much, Lauren and Greg, and thank you, Patrick. I think we're done here. As you say, that East Coast low is, I've just seen lightning appear outside my window. And I was kind of hoping to get into that lovely ocean before it gets too dangerous this afternoon. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to catching up again soon.
Ben, Patrick, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys have a great Christmas.
Thank you.
You too.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, Ben.